We are
Obviously.
professionals.
This is a professional podcast.
Yes.
Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Hello there. Which actually,
Did you
this
get
is gonna
me a
be
hat
a
as
bit,
well?
Yes.
So I've got Dooncam. It's just a camera with my Dune steelbook.
Welcome to the first Quiet On Set award show. I'm Ewan Graf, and joining me for today's festivities is my co-host Lachlan Healy.
Today, we're going to give some awards to some movies, and in various different categories, mind you.
Ooh. Yes, Lachlan, that is exactly what we're going to do today. With 20 plus different categories, we have a lot to go over.
But you might notice that we don't share the same categories that some other award shows do. We no names will be dropped of other award shows.
Yeah.
But we do things a little bit differently here.
Our globes aren't as golden as you might think. But if you want to skip around to any of the categories, you can find them linked below in the time codes, and you can skip around the big finale and whatever when Will Smith is gonna slap us both across the face.
It's because he's cheap now to hire, so we're able to get Will
Yep.
Smith. That's brilliant. That's so good. So here are all the categories for today. We will be starting with the, in quotations, like the big ones, like the, in quotations, the best picture categories. So we're talking about like best debut, we're talking about best movie, we're talking about movies that are entertaining, we're talking about disappointments. We're gonna have a broad range of categories here, but we're gonna get started soon. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's just another couple ad breaks before we can get started. A couple of
we gotta get paid or something.
Loose bits, exactly. The Jimmy Kimmel PNG of Jimmy Kimmel inserted here. Here's Jimmy
We're gonna
Kimmel.
have musical numbers. Ewan?
Yeah. I'm just Ken. That was and that was it for the musical numbers. Give it the Oscar. Well, actually, the way this is gonna work is gonna be quite simple. I think Lachlan and I both have separate lists for each of the categories. We have different nominees and we have different winners, so we get to talk about the most possible amount of movies for representation's sake, and hopefully to expand your watch list beyond what you've seen this year.
That means each of us are going to crown our own winner. So it's basically like we both have winners. Yeah, we might agree on some, but we're probably going to have separate ones because...
Disgusting. How liberal of us. Smells like communism. But yeah, two
Wow.
winners per category. But
winner.
maybe in some categories we even have the same winner. I mean, that could happen. We don't know yet.
We won't know until we continue to scroll down these show notes that I haven't had access to for the past 24 hours.
I thought
The mystery is for the listeners, not for me.
It's literally your notion. It's not like you could not have access
it's literally
to
my show notes. So,
Yeah.
we'll pretend that we will. So we're gonna pretend we're surprised when we have the same winner.
We can see it. It's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, well, it's just the two of us now. That was three of us actually, with the producer Kevin. So that's pretty sick. But
Yeah, he
just
gets
us
no vote,
today.
no say here.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing for him. You can go check out his top 10 video, which will be
Maybe
out sooner
next
than
year
later.
we can hide, like we could reveal each other's.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't that be
so
a good
it's more
idea?
of
We
a-
should have had this idea
Yeah.
weeks ago when we were
I
planning
mean, we
this.
could have just that takes preparation, and this took hours of preparation already. Imagine
Hours?
another one or 2 hours. Yeah, I was like, some of our categories are bizarre. But we'll get there. You get it. You get how it works. This year we saw a ton of incredible debut features. Too many to count. So here's a couple that actually didn't make either of our top 5 nominees, like Fair Play, Femme, Blue Jean, Scrapper, Skinamarink, Theater Camp, All Dirt Roads, Taste of Salt, Joyride, Polite Society, and yes, even Creed 3. But Lachlan, what are your nominees for the best debut feature in 2023?
So I had 3 nominees that I wanted to shout out: How to Have Sex, Past Lives, and Talk to Me.
I have a bit of an overlap. I have those 3 as well. In addition to that, I also have Rylane and 1001 in here. I think it's been a really good year for movies overall. Just such a great
Solid year.
yeah, really solid
Saltburn.
year.
Come on.
I mean, almost a debut feature.
Cocaine
although it's a
Bear.
second feature. Cocaine. I think that might have even been. No, it definitely wasn't a debut feature. But there was a bear and there was cocaine, so that's great.
Fast and Furious
but-
10. So I'll just stop saying movies.
So many movies that definitely deserve a shout out on an award show. I say because they're so good. Yeah, Lachlan, what was your favorite debut of the year?
Well, it's funny because technically this movie is a 2022 movie, but pretty much became popular in 2023 when it kind of released to the rest of the world. It's I'm a little bit biased because it's an Aussie duo, Michael and Danny Filippo, the brothers, the Raka Raka brothers. They did Talk to Me, and I thought it was a really fun, enjoyable debut film, and it's my most rewatched movie because I actually watched it 3 times.
Yeah.
I only watched other films like twice. I watched this one 3 times. Don't know how, but I did. So yeah, Talk to Me. There you go. Congratulations. I don't have any awards for this one.
The thing is, with our award show, it's so advanced that the implants that you'll get later on into your head in a couple of years' time, retroactively, you just know that you won. And that's like, you'll know.
That's not entirely true for all of them.
No? Okay. I'm keen now. As far as debuts feature go, I think your pick, Talk to Me, makes a ton of sense because these filmmakers show a ton of potential for the future. I went with someone that just had a really, really solid film. I don't know about this follow-up feature, if it will connect as much because it was a deeply personal film that they made, which brings me to Past Lives. Celine Song made a really, really incredibly moving portrayal of love all across the globe. When you disfire apart the different kinds of love, the different kinds of connections, deserves to be seen as just one of the great movies of the year and an incredible debut feature as well.
Wow, beautifully said. You should host an award show sometime, Ewan.
I'll
great.
get on stage. I'll do a bit. I'll tell the movies that no one sees the movies. No one goes to the movies anymore. How about some movie time?
Cinema's dead. Marvel's ruining cinema.
Against all of the other precursors of other award show, where this category comes very last because it's the biggest hype. For the best movie of the year, we're doing it second in our show because after the
Fuck it,
debut,
let's do it
there
second.
comes the other movies. Yeah, fuck it, let's do it second. Exactly. Yes. So, yeah, best movies of the year. Again, I feel like there's going to be a ton of overlap with our actual top 10. So you get a slight spoiler here of a video that's coming out later this week.
By the way, my nominees are not my top 10. I made this as in like best movie, as if it was like an Oscars. So they're pretty much all Oscar baity movies. I didn't do a single indie. I like my number 1 movie of the year. Spoiler: it's Boy and the Heron, and I didn't put it in here. So I'm just being a little bit of a cheeky bloke, and I'm just doing a different thing for this video, so not all the content is the same. But here we go. From 10 to 1. This is no particular order, but I listed it anyway, so I guess I'm going from 10 to 1. This is literally in no particular order, okay? Like literally, there's no particular order.
Such a chaotic
for this.
award show. You can never predict it. Someone might get
How the
slapped.
fuck
You
did
never
I-
know what happens.
Wait, what did I vote for this one?
I think you voted the movie that you didn't even have in your nominees. Which is worse than La La Land and Moonlight
Oh, fuck it.
combined.
I'm gonna
Is
do
it-
it anyway. All right, here's my top 10. All right.
Yeah.
Napoleon, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Maestro, The Zone of Interest, Poor Things, Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Perfect Days.
I love how you enunciate it the same way that they do when they
Yeah,
announce
I'm
it.
trying to make this official. Okay, and the award goes to The Boy and the Heron. It wasn't even the nominee. I didn't even write it. I just wrote it down. No,
surprised
I feel like that's cheating. I feel like I shouldn't have done that. I think I just wrote it there, and then I wrote down my nominees last, and I forgot to put it in there because I was like, I'll change it.
You know what?
you know
I
what?
actually got the reveal here. I put it down because I knew it was your favorite movie of the year, so I put down
You!
Boy and the Heron.
You,
And you never fixed it.
you are the
because
reason that I am Steve Harveying this right now so hard.
I was the guy who handed the wrong envelope to you. So for the whole fiasco, yeah.
Best movie? Fuck, I'm just gonna say Boy and the Heron. I keep it as my number 1. I guess that's fucking set up for
Still,
nothing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. All right, I'll
should've
go
prepped this
with
better.
mine. No, that's fine. It's not like it's the biggest category or anything. All right. So I'll just go from 10 to 1 as well. And number 1, I guess, is just like the best movie. Number 10, Killers of the Flower Moon. Number 9, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Number 8, About Dry Grasses. Number 7, Oppenheimer. Number 6, How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Number 5, Poor Things. Number 4, The Zone of Interest. Number 3, Past Lives. Number 2, May December. And number 1, Perfect Days. So that's my winner. That's the best movie of the year. Woo! I think we've already talked about a ton of these films before. And if you are someone who listens to the podcast, you kind of know already that we like these films. So we'd like to focus on the other categories, some other highlights in film, what we appreciate, what we typically don't get to see as much at award shows, although they do try to have the popular category, the box office type-ish categories. We have it at the Globes this year as well. So let's talk about something that's less art house. If you look at my list, there's a ton of art house stuff. If you go to the theater and you just want to be entertained, you hop on the couch and you just want something to keep you company for like an hour or two. These are the best entertaining movies of the year. All right, Lachlan. All right, Lachlan. Should I go first with my list of nominees?
Yeah, let me write my nominees down.
How about you write on this show for most entertaining movie of the year? We don't care if it.
I'm doing a bit. Let
doesn't
me do my
qualify.
bit. You read out your things and say you're a winner, and I'll write down my nominees.
All right. So my nominees for best entertainment movies, best movie entertainment, best entertain me. Barbie, The Creator, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, John Wick Chapter 4, Joyride, Poor Things, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And the winner is a tie. I have 2 winners. John Wick Chapter 4 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse are my 2 winners for the best entertaining movies of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shocker. Again, no particular order. For some reason, I listed it again in 1. I should just do dashes next time because I keep writing 1 to 5 or whatever. But here are my nominees for most entertaining movie of the year. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Five Nights at Freddy's, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, John Wick 4, Fast X, and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And my award for most entertaining movie goes to John Wick Chapter 4. Wow. Can you please applaud while I get my thing ready? So, accepting this award is my steelbook of John Wick 4 that's also red. Wow, it matches.
wow.
And
So
he's
red.
accepting one of my only trophies I've got, which is my runner-up swimming champion boy award.
Yeah.
He gets that for most entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow, incredible stuff.
Wow. Yeah, it's so that hit the oh my god. Okay. Yeah, lots of solid entertaining movies that came out this year. Maybe not from the people you'd most expected that are at the top of the box office of this year even. But some really great movies. But let's talk about something less entertaining. The disappointments. Now, instead of highlighting the worst of the worst that came out this year, we'd rather tell you about the films that we were excited about and that ultimately didn't really live up to the potential we saw in them, and we were underwhelmed by what we got. So, Lachlan, what are your nominees for biggest disappointment of 2023?
So, my nominees are Rebel Moon, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Saltburn, Napoleon, The Creator, and Only the River Flows.
Was Napoleon, did it have was that a question? Is it because you were waiting for the director's cut, or?
Yeah. Because it's like, I don't think it's the worst, but like, it was just I'm hoping for a better one. I might do a live change here, Ewan.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think anyone saw this one coming. I've currently got down Rebel Moon
Mhm.
as my biggest disappointment. And I think it's
Yeah.
because I rode like the bandwagon to like the hype of this movie.
Yeah.
You know, Zack Snyder, ex-Star Wars movie, visual god, which the movie's visually stunning, but everything
Mhm.
else about the film is pretty trash, and that's the biggest letdown. But
Yeah.
I forgot that I wrote Only the River Flows, which is a movie we saw in Cannes that had
Mhm.
so much potential. Like visually
Yeah.
stunning and like narratively like solid. And then it goes into this weird, wacky direction and ultimately was a bit disappointing. With some better direction and guidance, that film could have been better. But also, that could just make it a cult classic in like 10, 20 years' time. So, you know what? I'm sticking with my answer. Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon will be the biggest disappointment of the year. My
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
what a dumpster fire that was.
Yeah, it was really bad. I thought
That won't
you would-
even become a cult classic.
No, it definitely won't. I thought you were gonna go for Indiana Jones, because I mean, you're a big Indiana Jones fan, but I guess there was something in it. It wasn't as like it wasn't horrible.
You know what it was? It's that action sequence at the start. That's
Yeah.
totally Indiana Jones. And don't you worry, Ewan, because Indiana Jones will come up later in
Oh my
this
God.
award ceremony. So I'm
Exciting.
saving that. I'm saving that Indiana Jones award that they're gonna get. So you hold
Yeah.
you hold out. Hold out.
I'll hold out. Only the River Flows, I think, is about to come out in. I saw it in Australia in theaters. I don't know about any other places. It's gonna get like a really. It's definitely a small film, and it would also qualify for an upcoming award here as well. But we'll get to that in meantime. We'll get to that in due time. For me, the
June
biggest-
time.
No, due
June's
time.
coming out.
Isn't-
Oh, June
no.
time. Sorry,
due
I
time.
got excited. I thought we were talking about June for a second.
Dune time! It's the
It's Dune
intermission
time!
where they play trailers, and it's obviously sponsored by different distributors, but they definitely didn't pay their way into a nomination here.
Exactly.
Biggest disappointment for me, in no particular order yet, until I reveal my winner, is Beau is Afraid. The wonderful story of Henry Sugar, The Flash, The Little Mermaid, Elemental, 65, and David Fincher's The Killer. Yes, that is the title. It's not just The Killer, David Fincher's The Killer, because there's like 20 different movies with the title The Killer, so it can get quite confusing. There's also 2 with The Little Mermaid, which you might have noticed it's a live-action remake. Also, another letdown. 65, Adam Driver in like a period piece where it says there's dinosaurs. We were all really hyped for this one at the start of February, and then it was kind of dog shit. Elemental, really didn't like this Pixar movie. Henry Sugar, after the high of Asteroid City, I was like, okay, let's give me some short stories that I can also just vibe with. Great style. Didn't really like it that much. But to me, the biggest disappointment of the year was Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid. I had really, really high hopes, and the movie wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It was just really stretched. It was long, and I didn't love it all the way through. So that probably is my biggest disappointment of the year. Although I still gave it like a 7 out of 10. It's a really good
That's
movie.
your
I just
biggest
thought it was gonna
disappointment
be.
of the year.
I thought it was gonna be like in my top 5 or my top 10. Disappointment
Yeah.
Boulevard is literally the movie, like how the movie was called before the name was changed. So I feel like it definitely fits to be the winner of the Disappointment Award.
That's
of the year.
that's unfortunate, man. I'm sorry to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to look at your letterboxd here. Trying to.
It's not like too low on the
figure out.
list. I think it's like in the 50s or 60s somewhere.
So you're telling me that you weren't more disappointed by like Rebel Moon? Like you weren't that disappointed? I mean, Aquaman's a
No,
pretty easy
because
one. That one's pretty
I
disappointing.
knew it was gonna. Yeah, I thought it was like that's gonna be Zack Snyder. It's not gonna be for me. I was like excited that you were excited about it, but I was never really that excited about it. So I knew it was gonna underwhelm me. That it wasn't gonna be for me, and then it just was like a really bad movie. I think one film that I was hoping would be better was The Flash. I really thought, hey, the story that they're doing here is a really iconic, not just Flash story, but a DC story that they're doing here, and they just got it completely wrong. The Flash is gonna get mentioned later on again as well, but that was not a huge letdown. When it's actually a bad movie, maybe The Flash would be the bigger disappointment than Beau is Afraid, because it's just my expectations ultimately.
Yeah.
It's not about like the worst film of the year, at least for me. Hey, we can see these categories differently as well. That's just a fun part of this
True.
inaugural version of it. It can just be whatever we envision it to be. This would be a great placement to plug, like, for your consideration, Wonka. It can just be whatever you want it to be. It's a pure imagination. On another note, with us going to the Gun Film Festival and seeing films there at the world premieres, so we gotta get in a couple of flexes while we can. We went into these stories without any expectations, or sometimes even having seen anything from the filmmakers beforehand. So let's talk about the some of the pleasant surprises of the year. Lachlan, what are your nominees for the surprise hits of 2023?
There was a couple of films that I didn't have on my radar, and all of a sudden they just popped up, like a trailer came out, or maybe you talked about it, and I had no idea it was coming out, and it was just suggested or something. So there was a lot of films that I could be just blown away by. But there was 3 nominees that I wanted to give special mention to. First one would be Godzilla -1. That one came out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden there's a Godzilla movie coming out, and that thing just blew me away. It was wild. Then there was No One Will Save You. Ewan told me about it on a podcast many weeks back, and I was like, oh, I'll give that a shot. And then realized it was on Disney Plus. Just watched it randomly one night and pleasantly enjoyed it. But there is no movie that surprised me more than one particular one. If you watch the top 10 list videos, then you'll see this one coming. Because I had no idea what this film was about. No idea. Went in blind. Was at Cannes. And it gave me an incredibly good time. That movie is like a mirror. That is my second movie of the year. And it was just magical, dreamy. Took me by surprise. Took me on a journey. That's my pick. Because I don't think there was anything else that kind of surprised me. Because I'm actually hard to surprise. I'm hard to please. Ewan knows
Hard
that.
to please. Yeah. I try. I also have a couple of nominees. Yeah, mainly they are from festivals. There's some ones that weren't from festivals, but that's usually where you get to see those gems first, and hopefully, being underrated and underseen, us highlighting them will make some of you watch it yourself. So on my list in no particular order, as far as nominees go, is a Slow, Cobweb, the version from Kim Jae-won. I know there's 2 Cobwebs out in 2023. It gets a bit confusing. Although this one, I think, just came out in 2024, so maybe that helps in you trying to find it. You Hurt My Feelings, The Promised Land, Stolen, and How to Have Sex. I think all of these films are really, really entertaining in their own respect. Slow is about a relationship between someone who's asexual and someone who's not. Cobweb is a wild story on a movie set that just continuously escalates into more entertaining shenanigans. And Song Kang-ho, who some people might know from Parasite, is in the lead role here, and he's magnificent, so entertaining. You Hurt My Feelings, another character thing between Julia Louis-Dreyfus and her husband, that I'm blanking on the name of the guy who plays her husband, but that's super well done in a 24 movie. The Promised Land, saw this one in Venice. Mads Mikkelsen, a Danish period piece. Wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. And then probably the biggest surprise, but not actually my winner, is Stolen. Kevin and I walked into this one just trying to fill up our schedule in Venice. I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll go see this Indian film. Had no expectations. And then this movie, it just really worked. It was like one entertainment ride after the other. It just kind of built and built. There was a lot of good tension. There was some good action. It's just a really solid film that I think less than 500 people have logged on Letterboxd. So I don't think a lot of people know about this one yet. But my winner of the category is a debut feature that premiered in Cannes, How to Have Sex. I think it was picked up by Mubi, and you can see it in most places now, but I think it's just a really, really solid movie. Won the category there for Un Certain Regard, like a spotlight section in Cannes, and I think it deserves it very much. Loved How to Have Sex. Some of these recordings go on for quite a bit.
Yep.
And I just
What's your longest recording?
yap
What's our longest recording? It's like
I
3
think it
hours,
was
right?
the ones that you definitely weren't on. Yeah, it was the ones with 2 yappers, with me and Kevin. And then we managed to talk about, with Ghent and Venice, we both had 2 recordings that were over 3 hours long. But we also watched some long movies this year, Lachlan, especially in Cannes. There were 4 that were over 3 hours long, well over 3 hours as well. There was 2 that were over 4 hours long, actually. So this is our award for those long movies that ended up working. And I mean, if you look at the nominees, There's some good
Basically,
nominees.
It's the same nominee. It's just the same nominees.
We do have the same winner, and there's only like by a small margin. John Wick is only 170 minutes, so we were like 3 hour plus. Then it's a really long movie. Then you qualify. Beau is Afraid is also like barely, I guess, could be considered. It's 179 minutes, but 4 movies. All of them we saw. Not all of them we saw in Cannes, I guess.
3. Only 1.
One of them we don't want to mention because it was really bad.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. We should put that as a
Yeah.
nominee. We should put that as a nominee.
All right, Youth Spring gets an honorable nominee.
Youth Spring gets an
Chuck it out again.
honorable. Fuck, we should make that the winner.
No, definitely not. You can
No.
make it a winner.
No.
I'm definitely
Okay,
not
no,
going
I
to.
am. I literally am because I completely forgot about it, and I have a reason why I'm going to make it the winner.
Okay, sure. Well, the rest of the nominees are Occupied City from Steve McQueen, Oppenheimer, About Dry Grasses, and Killers of the Flower Moon. So yeah, Lachlan, do you want to share your winner? We totally don't know what it is.
So the reason I'm saying it's youth in brackets spring is because this category is called long movie, right? And I don't
Yes.
want to refer to it as the best movie that was long. I just want to refer to it as a long movie. Technically,
Yeah.
this movie isn't the longest movie I watched this year, but it
Really?
felt like the longest movie I watched this year. It ran for a long time.
How's your neck, Lachlan?
My neck is sore because I watched it like 3 rows from the front. I feel bad for people who are right at the front, but like, I'm just going to say right now, I'm just going to say it right here, right now. Youth Spring is the longest. Originally, my answer, my award was going to go to Oppenheimer. I think that was like the best long movie, but Youth Spring is the longest movie this year. My God.
We went over the nominees. I'm just gonna announce my winner, which is Oppenheimer. I'm gonna go with the one that is just at 3 hours, 180 minutes on the point. I think About Dry Grasses probably ranks higher in my rating, but when it comes to using its runtime efficiently and densely and in an entertaining way, I think Oppenheimer is the best long movie that is worth its runtime. I think with About Dry Grasses, you really got to be patient. I think with Oppenheimer, you can just enjoy it if you're a general moviegoer and you're not really on the art house front as well. So that's why, for me, it is the best long movie.
212 minutes.
Oh my God.
It was
How long was-
212 minutes.
212 minutes. That makes it not the longest movie. Occupied City was actually 262 minutes.
Yeah, because that was 4.5 hours.
Yeah, and we watched that
And technically,
one day apart.
we were in the cinema longer because we were there at least half an hour beforehand, and
Yeah.
there was a 30-minute intermission in between. So we were in that cinema for
I was like
5.
an entire morning. Yeah.
5. Well, no, if we did that, it was 4.5 hours. We were there for half an hour beforehand, brings us to 5 hours, 5.5 hours. But didn't we stay for the applause at the end? So we're probably there for a good
We were
5 hours and 40. Let's just run it up to 6. We were there for 6 hours.
We were there for the entirety of 2023.
My God.
My God.
Hey, how long was Oppenheimer?
3 hours on the dot. 180.
Yeah. Oppenheimer doesn't even come close to being a long movie once you've watched Youth Spring.
It's so short,
Thank you.
actually.
Thank you for whoever decided to put Youth Spring at Cannes. Thank you to Wang Bing for making me watch Youth in brackets Spring, because without Youth in brackets Spring, I probably wouldn't have been able to make it through Oppenheimer. I probably wouldn't have been able to make it through Killers of a Flower Moon. You set the target of long movie and you said yes.
You've become from youth spring. You've moved into adult summer. That's basically how long it took to finish the film.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes just way too long to end, but in many cases, it's the best thing about the film, especially if the movie is long. It has to nail the ending. So, Lachlan, what were this year's best endings? Without spoiling them, maybe, if we can.
So there were a number of movies that I thought had a fantastic ending this year. Whilst I don't think it actually was a year for good endings, I actually think a lot of films kind of fucked it towards the end. I feel like that's the vibe. I have a lot of memories of, like, I mean, the great example is like The Boy and the Heron has like a weird like exit thing at the end, and I'm just gonna ignore that and just pretend the film end like 30 seconds before that scene happens. But like, there were a few films that had some pretty good ending. And for me, my nominees there's only 4 that I think of. And And those are John Wick Chapter 4, Talk to Me, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and The Zone of Interest. And the award goes to The Zone of Interest. What a fantastic ending. What a fantastic, strong, thought-provoking ending to a film that was just spectacularly crafted, spectacular from the start to the end. Performances were incredible. I prefer this performance over Anatomy of a Fall. With Sandra Hüller. Wow, everyone,
Yeah.
wow,
What?
hate me. Yep. I mean, Anatomy of the Fall was great. Like, don't get me wrong, but I just vibed with this one more. 10 years since making your last movie, and then Jonathan Glazer pulls out this one. It's like, man, there are particular creators like Jonathan Glazer, like who
A particular
did,
set of skills.
What's their name? I mean, Miyazaki's another good one. But who's the person who did when you talk about Kevin and You're Never Really Here?
Nah.
Why is her name not coming to me right now?
Lynn Ramsey.
Lynn Ramsey. That's it. She's spectacular. She makes a movie like every other fucking decade. There are particular creatives in this industry who just make a movie every so often, and they're just spectacular. This was one of them. And if Jonathan Glazer wants to go in hibernation for the next 10 years and just pull out another one, like, I'm happy for that because this was incredible. And the ending was so strong. But enough of my rambling about endings. Ewan?
Yeah. I mean, this is one where, like, you know, the zone of interest where people maybe haven't even seen the film yet. So I'm going to be super keen for more people to see it. There's one overlap.
Anything.
No spoilers. There's one overlap from both of our nominees. I also have 4. Talk to Me, I think, really ends this horror film solidly, where the stories end for our characters in a super well way without, like, compromising on, hey, this is a universe that can be fleshed out with the scenario that's set up, trying to be really
Talk to Me too,
non-specific here. It is. I mean, it literally is. And I like that the 2 in the middle, 2 is the 2. I like that. And it's a hand. Just really solid all around. A smaller film, Blackberry has a really small Swiss-Georgian co-production. And it just ends. And that movie has really stuck with me. The way that it ends, yeah, I don't want to spoil it. Go check it out if you can. I think you can rent it or buy it in places. Past Lives. Yeah, no, I don't want to spoil it. It's just like, it's perfect. The music, everything, the whole atmosphere. And then Killers of the Flower Moon. I think that's one where everyone has kind of heard stuff about it. The discussion has been really open about Scorsese appearing, and I think it really helps the whole narrative structure of the film, where when I first saw it in Gun, I was like, what the fuck? And on the rewatch, I was like, oh yeah, this makes a ton of sense why he needs to be there in this moment. But to me, the best ending of the year goes to Past Lives. It's the one that has emotionally moved me. I mean, if you think about this movie in the back here, which was my favorite of last year, I'm sobbing. Like, sobbing. Even if you bring that up, or like show me a clip of that ending, I'll cry. In Past Lives, there's something just like really beautiful to it, where I'm not like crying out of sadness, but just because it just kind of comes together in this weirdly beautiful cinematic way. And yeah, that's why it's my favorite ending of the year. All right, let's circle back from the last page on screen to the first one and everything in between. What were the best screenplays of the year, Lachlan?
Wow, Ewan, I'm so glad that you segued into screenplays because we have an incredible show note to read from. So shout out to the best screenwriter of the year, Ewan. You're welcome, mate. So I've got a couple of nominees, one really shocking one, and the others kind of all expected. But my nominees go like this: Anatomy of a Fall, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Poor Things, and Saltburn. What? Saltburn for best screenplay? What? There's my controversial entry.
Yeah.
There always has to be a bit of drama, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, you might have noticed this is not, you know, original or adapted, because who the fuck cares if it was written from someone's mind or someone read something and got inspired by it? Someone's writing that. Someone's got to come up with that. It's really just how it all kind of comes together. and Saltburn doesn't do that, but I'm putting it in here for fucking shits and giggles.
It's a good-
But my nominee, the winner of best screenplay, fuck, I had a stroke for a second there. Jeez, did you hear that?
The
How do
nominee
people
winner,
do this
yeah.
live? Man, if we do this, we should do
I
this
mean-
live next year. Wouldn't that be incredible?
Sure. It would be. Oh
Is
my
that
God,
too much
the
to
dream.
promise? There's so many wires.
I mean, if we don't do it in person, it would be so hard because there's also a delay between the two of us, and
the
like
delay
factoring in
makes
the-
it better, Ewan.
Yes,
We can edit out the delay.
live. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. There we go. All right, so the winner of a best screenplay from me goes to Oppenheimer. What?
Oh, let's go.
No way. And Oppenheimer is going to get. Should I give it a footy? I've got
give it-
another swimming award. I've got a footy, and I've got a cricket trophy, and I've got some medals as well. What should I give it? Which one?
The cricket one. The cricket one.
Cricket one. All right, cool.
Yeah.
It's teeny tiny. Look, I give it the cricket award for best screenplay.
For the crickets
Congratulations,
that play
Oppenheimer.
when there's no sound for a bit, and then it just
Oh.
comes back really loud.
Which was written into the
That's-
screenplay.
Yeah,
That's
the
good
screenplay
screenwriting.
Is also I don't know if you've been reading some of the screenplays, but
I did.
Oppenheimer written in the first perspective, really interesting there. I think it's been a really solid year for well written films that are also incredibly well directed. That's why the screenplay and directing was for me the hardest to choose, just the film. But here are my nominees. We got Maestro, Bottoms, Origin, Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, The Zone of Interest, Poor Things, and May December. I would also include Hitman here, but because it hasn't really come out yet, I think that is a really, really solid screenplay in there. But I mean, it's not, the movie's not even out yet. I haven't had
Not
a
fair. I
chance
can't
to-
even see it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair. So, a solid list of nominees. I think The Zone of Interest deserves another shout out here because it has 2 screenplays, just one alone for the sound design, which I think is really incredible. Bottoms, I think just like, I read through some of that as well, and it's really chaotic the way it's spelled out, and you wouldn't really think that a lot of it is scripted out. It feels improvised, but a lot of it is actually on the page. Origin for adapting a thesis paper, an academic paper, into a screenplay. I think it does that super capably. Anatomy of a Fall, solid. Past Lives, incredible. Poor Things. But the winner to me, surprising to some, is May December. I just really like how
What?
it's written, how it comes together. Yes,
No
to
way.
me, it's my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
No,
surprising.
he's not surprised at all. I feel like he's faking being surprised. It's almost as good as an actress
faking
as Julianne Moore and fuck, what's her name? I always blank on her name. Why do
Natalie
I always
Portman?
re-
Are you referring to
I
Natalie
always-
Portman?
I always think
How do you
Natalie
forget
Portman,
Natalie Portman's name?
I always think Nicole Kidman for some reason. I
What?
mix those two up. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think because they both
Do
start
you
with
think
N.
Nicole Kidman was in Star Wars?
No, I never mix those two people up, but I can never think of Natalie Portman's name. I don't know what it is.
So when you're
but
watching Star Wars and you're like, oh yeah, you know, in
I think I've
episode 1,
clarified that I
when
don't think
Nicole Kidman comes out, it's like, what?
What?
Makes no
why
sense.
is she Aussie? Why is I imagine the Star Wars scene is
Oh,
like a
yeah.
Rich Mead over with.
We can get
Eyes
that
wide
fixed
shut.
up for you. Can you imagine? She had an Aussie accent. If Padme had an Aussie accent.
Why can't I'm too old for you? I can't do Aussie. Horrible.
That was
Anyways,
brilliant. Can you do it again?
No, I think I'm good.
I just want the scene where they're just like, I hate sand. Sand's coarse, and she's like, oh yeah, nah, mate, you're not for me then because you're fucking surrounded by water. So you know, sand's gonna be like inevitable in Australia unless you live in the middle of nowhere. But there's still kind of sand there as well. So I'm sorry.
That's got to be a deal breaker for me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. We got the words on screen, but how do
Yep.
you bring them from page onto the screen? You
A
gotta
printer.
use vessels.
Oh, yep, that
we'll,
too.
we'll take a printer. Yeah, the PNG. Here's Jimmy Kimmel is back. These actor and actresses brought the words to life. Let's start out with the supporting let's start out with the supporting performances of the year. All genders. We don't have separate categories for actress and actresses.
They're all just one pool.
Honorable mentions, man. I got
Go
some.
ahead.
I know you only have a couple, but I'll go through my nominees first. Again, only honorable mentions here. Divine J. Randolph in The Holdovers, Rosamund Pike in Saltburn, John Magaro in Past Lives, Glenn Howerton in Blackberry, and Jeremy Allen White in The Iron Claw. Now, my actual nominees are Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things, Willem Dafoe in Poor Things, Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, Charles Melton in May December, Julianne Moore in May December, and Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer. Lachlan, what about you? What are your nominees? I'm not gonna
I've only
reveal
got
what
3.
my winner is in.
There's only 3
Yeah.
supporting roles.
Only men.
And okay, hang on a second here.
He likes only men.
There are a few front runners for supporting actress at the Oscars right now. I know
Yeah.
one of them. I know like 3 of them are from movies I haven't even seen, which is The Color Purple, The Holdovers, and Naiad, the one with Jodie Foster in it. I know Jodie Foster's in like the
Jodie Foster's alright, but it's not an awards performance. She's
right.
decent. She's
So
good.
I haven't seen some of those. I haven't seen those ones. Right. The only other one is Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, and I wasn't blown away by Emily Blunt's performance. Okay.
Neither,
now,
yeah.
The people I have nominated here, the only reason I've nominated them is not because they're just men, Ewan. Jesus. It's 2024, man. Get real. It's the fact that these performers complemented the main actor, actress on the screen
Mm-hmm.
and didn't necessarily overpower that main performance, but complemented them quite well and stood on their
Yeah.
own feet.
Mm-hmm.
That is Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, and Ryan Gosling in Barbie.
Let's go, yeah. I mean, I agree. They definitely add to it. They're supporting. They're supporting the main performance. I like that twist on the
And
thing.
I understand that like Julianne Moore for Best Supporting Actress and Natalie Portman, and Natalie Portman as like Best
Lead?
Actress. But
Yeah.
my problem is that I find that both of those characters are on screen for the same amount of time, so I'd kind of consider
Yeah.
them both leads.
They're
But
like
then
co-leads, yeah.
I feel like it's just the type of the movie they're trying to outdo each other, and I don't
Yeah.
really feel like one is complementing the other. But like anyway,
Fair, yeah.
that's just you know,
Mhm.
I watched May December and I fell asleep. I'm sorry.
I mean, it was your seventh movie of the day. I don't blame you for
Long
that.
day.
And you also rewatched it for our review, which you can go check out. It's one of my favorites of the year. But what takes the cake for best supporting performance in your book?
Best Supporting goes to Ryan Ruffalo Jr. That's right. I'm combining all 3 because I feel like all 3 did an incredible performance, meaning that
Yeah.
Ryan Ruffalo Jr. won it for their movie Barporheimer. Incredible. Barporheimer.
Okay.
They all did an
Cool.
incredible job. I tried to also get Willem Dafoe included on that one, but then I thought, like,
Yeah.
that's just way too complicated for me to do, like,
Mhm.
Barporheimer Ings. And then I was like,
I
how do
gave
I
him the
get
shout out.
Willem? Anyway, yeah, he gets a shout out
Yeah.
because he did a great job. Super underrated
Mhm.
nominee in the
Yeah.
supporting side. But, yeah, I feel like all
Yep.
of those guys, they did an incredible job. I say guys as not as like the gender, but just like those people did an incredible
Those-
job supporting the main performer in their role and did an incredible job. And if they had their own spin-off, I'd watch it.
Mhm. I would not watch the spin-off for my lead performance of the year from Julianne Moore in May December. That's my favorite supporting here. I think we've seen more than enough of this person. But it's so
Yep.
darn intriguing, man. It's so well done. I think this similar to the layered performances, maybe that layered
Ogres have layers.
Emma Stone gives in Poor Things. In May, December, you have so much going on the inside with these characters other than the words that they speak. And I think that Portman, Moore, Melton, all of them just really bring the best out of the characters and in service of the story. So yeah, that's my favorite. But before we get to the lead performances, you might have thought, oh, supporting, now they're going to get to lead. No. We have a different category because we also want to highlight some characters that were not played by humans. So,
Exactly.
Lachlan, what are your nominees for the best non-human characters.
Such a dumb category.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we thought of this. So my nominees are the Heron from Boy and the Heron, the dog in Anatomy of a Fall, the Meg in Meg 2: The Trench,
Yeah.
and and finally Godzilla in Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
So the award goes to Godzilla because he was incredible.
He killed
The
the other ones.
performance, you could see it in his eyes. The raw performance. He was
real charged up.
method acting for a couple years to get into the role. We obviously saw him go on a tangent. He did some weird roles. You know, he's a performer. He does everything live action. And to see those recent Hollywood spin-off CGI messes of Godzilla, you know, I really felt bad for the guy. It was good to see him get to his roots and do a story that was close to his heart of murdering the Japanese.
I mean, it's back. It's great to see Daniel Day-Lewis back to work. Method acting.
Yeah, it's incredible seeing him back to work.
Just bulking up, you know.
It's incredible to see how much makeup can make Christian Bale look like Godzilla. It was you know, Dick Cheney in what was that movie called?
Yeah,
Cheney.
Dick Cheney. I don't know. I was just thinking. I thought it was Gary Oldman, but I guess it was Christian Bale as Godzilla.
Yeah.
I mean, in the American version, directed by Ronald Emmerich, maybe.
So my award goes to the Godzilla.
Yeah, there's a ton of animals and other creatures in movies this year, especially dogs. There was a dog in The Old Oak and Wrath of Becky and Fallen Leaves and Anatomy of a Fall. There were weird creatures in Landscape with Invisible Hand that used their hands to make like some weird noises. There was also a dog in John Wick. Bunch of dogs in Dogmen from Luc Besson. Dogs with moving mouths in Strays. A sloth in Slaughterhouse, and of course a bear in Cocaine Bear. But my nominees are Godzilla in -1. Godzilla in -1, yes. Okay, that's good. What we're gonna stick with. The dog in Anatomy of a Fall and the dog in Fallen Leaves. And the award of best animal or whatever goes to the dog in Anatomy of a Fall. And whatever. It's animals or whatever. So yeah, those are our winners. So let's get to the best lead performances of the year. Now, Lachlan said like, ooh, there's no women in your list. In lead performances, my God, there's a great lineup when it comes to some of the women on screen. I got a couple of honorable mentions. I don't know if they pop up on your list. I know you stuck to 5 nominees. I couldn't limit myself, so there's definitely more than that. But my honorable mentions are Greta Lee in Past Lives, Kaylee Spaney in Priscilla, Anjani Ellis Taylor in Origin, Jessica Chastain in Memory, Carey Mulligan in Maestro, Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Theo Yo in Past Lives, and Mads Mikkelsen in The Promised Land. Lachlan, what are your nominees?
So, my nominees for lead are Emma Stone in Poor Things, Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Carey Mulligan, Maestro.
She made it into your top 5.
Incredible performances. Maestro was one of the last films I got to see last year, during 2023, like the year. And both Bradley and Carey Mulligan made it into my, you know, like honorable mentions and performances in this film. They're both nominated. They're going head to head. What I will say is I had to give Bradley the nom because, man, he is trying hard for an Oscar here. Like, my God. Like, he is trying so hard. He is going Rami Malek, Bohemian Rhapsody hard in this film as the conductor, whose name I cannot remember.
Leonard Bernstein.
That's the one. I know you're into this kind of music, Ewan. I know it. But Carey Mulligan does an even more incredible job in her role, and that was incredible. But it does not beat one particular performer on my list. And that performer is Emma Stone in Poor Things. I was captivated from the start. This is the run. I want to see Emma Stone get that Oscar, get up on stage, and go for the gold because, yeah, that was a good performance. I really enjoyed it. Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, baby. A good winner. She's actually my runner-up. I would have her second to my winner, but she doesn't win in my category. She's also one of the nominees, alongside Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, Kochi Yakusho in Perfect Days, Natalie Portman in May December, Bradley Cooper as well in Maestro, and Leonardo DiCaprio in Killers of the Flower Moon. Lots of great performances, but my favorite performance from a lead character in a movie this year came from Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall. I think she was really solid. She would have deserved to, if that movie hadn't gotten the Palme d'Or, I think she would have been a clear winner of the best actress award at that festival. Although I didn't love the movie as much as some other people did after it won the Palme, I think her performance always stood out as very, very incredibly solid. So Sandra Hüller for me, and I got to interview her. You can go check out my interview with a bit of a flex here. gotta bring in a couple of flexes, Lachlan, of course.
Wow.
But yeah,
Someone interviewed Sandra Hüller. What the fuck? Whoever.
whatever.
And I'm hosting the
Anyways.
Quiet on Set Awards, so.
You're wearing a red suit. I wasn't wearing a red suit when I was interviewing her, so you got that going for you.
Shame.
Speaking of incredible performances, let's get to the category that's already a classic. It's got to be yet to be implemented in an actual award show. But Lachlan, you came up with this one, and it's a bit
Thank
of a
you.
head scratcher, but it's the best line in a Fast and Furious movie.
Yes, correct.
So that's an award.
That's an
Are
award.
there any nominees? Or is it just,
There's only
is it
one,
just
and there's
a-
only one winner.
There's only one
In fact,
line.
I don't even think you wrote anything down.
I wrote something. Yeah, no, well, maybe I'll give mine in a second, but you can go with yours first.
Thank you. So there is a scene in Fast and Furious 10, which came out last year in 2023, where they're on a bridge. Dom
Mhm.
throws, I can't remember Jason Momoa's character's name. I'm just going Jason Momoa against a car. Jason Momoa goes, "You don't know your own strength." And then he reaches into his mouth. This is Jason Momoa.
Mhm.
Pulls out a tooth. He then throws that tooth at Dom and says the following line: "You butthole."
Wow.
That's it.
Chills.
That's the best line in a
Why
Fast
was
and
that not in
Furious
your
movie.
screenplay? Why was that not in your
Because it
screenplay
has to be the
nominees?
whole movie has to be like that. That is just the best
fair.
moment in the film.
The rest of it gets X's on American Idol or whatever. Great winner. I also have
Thank you.
a couple here. I have a couple of nominees for the best lines, and you can decide yourself which one wins. One of them is Han going, "I don't care if you're sick as a dog or in bed with Beyonce. I call, you show." Another one is also Han, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. And the winner is Twinkie says, "Do you know what DK means?" And Sean goes, "Donkey Kong, huh?" That's my winner.
Best line. The best line in
in
a Fast and Furious
Fast and
movie.
Furious.
We'll see you next year for the next year of best line in a Fast and Furious movie.
Yes, I tried really hard to find one in Fast X. I just couldn't find one. So I think in the timeline, probably Tokyo Drift is probably said like in 2030. I know
To be
they
fair,
shift
I
the
did
timelines
take the
around.
best line from Fast 10. Sorry.
You butthole is a good line.
you.
It's all good. Let's keep on that hot streak of great innovative different categories. And what's the best title a movie has had this year?
The best title. Well, I've got
Yes.
3 nominees, and my my winner is not one of the nominees. But I'm just gonna
Great.
shout out. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't understand how this award thing works. I just kind of shout out
Yeah.
people.
You
How
just
to
got
Have
on
Sex?
stage.
Very, very bold title, and really engages you and makes you go, "Fuck, I want to watch this movie." Because
How do I have sex?
got a
yeah.
lot to learn, you know. Then there's
Mhm,
Monster,
mhm.
because you have no idea what the movie's about.
Yeah.
And again, it intrigues you because you go, "Why is it called Monster?" Then it hits you and you
Mhm.
go, "That's disappointing." The other one was The Zone of Interest, because that is just that's a hot title. But the winner of best title is not even the official title, but I was so mad that it wasn't called this because I think it's a way better title than Beau is Afraid. And that's Disappointment Boulevard. What a cool name.
Oh, yeah,
what a
it's great.
sick title, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's intriguing. It's cool. It's not even the full spelling of Boulevard. It's like the short spelling of it. It's such a cool title that we're never going to see, but it gets my award for best title.
Hey, props to that. I have a couple of nominees as well. We just talked about Fast X. Is it also Fast 10? Is it how is this gonna continue? I love how the Fast and Furious franchise has been naming their movies so inconsistently. It's like you could definitely bet. Maybe there is actually like a betting game. You know, on sports you can bet on the outcomes of scores. Here you bet on what the next Fast and Furious movie is going to be titled as. I also have How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Really gets down to the brass facts. Hey, how do you blow up a pipeline? That's what this movie is about. The Zone of Interest as well. Then I also have The Taste of Things for its 15 different titles that it had. I think in Gun, it had the title of La Passion de Don de Buffon. Then also The Taste of Things. Then it was also The Pot au Feu. This movie had so many different titles that just choose one of them. Past Lives, I think, really encapsulates. I'm going from serious to kind of not serious back and forth in my nominees, but Past Lives, I think, is such an effective title for what it's going for. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, just because it was so long and bad, and the movie was also bad. I think the title just encapsulates that, the overextension of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a collective cultural experience. And then May December, because I didn't notice, and Cole from the Oscar Expert actually told me this when we were watching another film in Gun, that it means like a relationship between two people that have a huge age gap. That's what it's called, a May December relationship. And the winner of best title for me is How to Blow Up a Pipeline, because it just gets down to facts, and I like that. It's just like, that's what it is. I mean, Lachlan, the marketing for these movies is often important, and I don't know why they changed from Disappointment Boulevard to Beau is Afraid. I don't know what is more marketable about Beau is Afraid, but it can often make or break a film, and we saw it this year with Barbenheimer, that it can put the butts into seats if it's done right and it just comes out perfectly. And often the first thing that you see for a film is its poster. There's also often different versions of a poster that we end up liking more. Shout out to Letterboxd, where you as a patron can change the different styles of your posters. But Lachlan, let's get to those posters. What are the best posters of this year?
My nominees are The Zone of Interest, Poor Things, Saltburn, Napoleon, and Dream Scenario. And the award for Best Original Poster goes to Saltburn. Reason I say it, because I actually think the Saltburn poster is really cool with like the mirror effect, and then with Barry Keoghan's character just resting on the top corner. There's a lot to read into with that one. If you want to read deeply into the meaning of Saltburn, don't read too deeply. It's not that deep. But what I do want to shout out, more importantly, two posters. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to show them.
No, we'll be able to show them.
Yeah, we can show them, because we know the copyright laws. Of two Japanese posters for Boy and the Heron and John Wick Chapter 4. And these are my favorite posters of the year. I do not care that I just voted Saltburn, because I had to get Saltburn out of the way, because I thought they added all the original posters. That one's got a good one. But these two posters here are sick. They're so fucking cool. Especially the John Wick one. The John Wick one is so simple, and I love it.
When it comes to original posters, I do have a couple of nominees here as well. Beau is Afraid, Talk to Me, Anatomy of a Fall, Poor Things, Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Verse Across the Spider-Verse. Wait, what? Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, The Zone of Interest, and Barbie. When it comes to original posters, I would give this to Anatomy of a Fall. I think it's really effective, showing the husband who has fallen, the blood that's spilling into the snow, and them standing next to it. When it comes to posters that you can change, I think the Beau is Afraid one, with the hundreds of eyes that are just staring down at Beau, is so well done. And it's just a couple of different variations of the Across the Spider-Verse posters that are incredible. So shout outs to those posters, man.
Shout out to posters.
Even the best of marketing couldn't save the loss of box office draws that Marvel films had, and just the comic book films overall this year. There were a couple that were successful. We have a category here just for Marvel alone. Just for Marvel. There's definitely not other movies in here. It's the best Marvel
Just
movie.
for Marvel. Just
for
best
Marvel.
movie.
So Lachlan, what are your nominees for best Marvel movie?
Well, I'm just gonna kind of do it an interesting way for my nominees.
Yeah.
Let me just Google Marvel movies that came out this year.
But this year, nothing yet.
Ha ha ha! We're in 2024. Ha 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 ha!
I'll see you next year.
Alrighty. Marvel movies that released in 2023. So we've got. This is not a list. This is just a random article. Give me a list.
Give me a list. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. So we've got. Oh my
What are
god!
you
This
excited
is
for?
not what I want. Here we go.
Oh, isn't that just the Marvel experience?
All right. So we had Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3,
Mhm.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, The Marvels. Is that it?
That is it.
And that's it. And then we have like What If Season 2, Secret Invasion, I Am Groot Season 2, Loki Season 2. We also had The Flash, Aquaman. We're just
Yeah,
we're
at
just
one
including,
point-
we're including all of these
Yeah.
fucking things in them.
Yep.
What else do we have that was like a Marvel?
I mean, Spider-Verse
movie.
technically is Marvel.
Well,
and-
I said Spider-Verse.
oh, damn, I wasn't paying attention.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So,
Some
no,
of the time.
that's okay.
Well,
I understand. It's a
I
boring
renamed
category.
these Marvel categories. So it's Bug and Bee Free, The Marvels with a Z at the end, and Guardians of the Disney brand.
The death of the
that's-
Disney
that's-
brand, don't you mean? Because there's no more Guardians movies coming from James Gunn. The death of the Guardians universe. And the start of the DC
Yep.
one. And let's hope that it's probably a better start than with Aquaman and The Flash, because holy fucking shit, those are dumpster fires. Do you reckon
Well, yeah, that was
they...
the end. That was the end.
Do you reckon
the
they were
DCU.
promoting them with people, like, you know how they're like, Tom Cruise saw The Flash and he says it's the greatest movie of all time? Do you reckon that was
Yeah.
their strategy to get more butts in the seats to save money because they knew how terrible these movies were?
I don't know if Tom Cruise would take money to say that. I don't know.
No, Tom
I don't know.
Cruise
I don't
said
know if
that.
I know, but I don't know if he said it for money or if he actually. I don't know. It's a hard one to. I mean, I don't know Tom Cruise personally, of course.
True.
But
I do.
it was a whole weird thing
Good
with
guy.
with the Flash and the the hype that they were trying to create for it, and it's just like not being there at all. It was just a really weird film. I think Guardians definitely is the best of the Marvel, so that gets a win. It gets the best Marvel award of the year. Guardians free.
Yep.
I think
Guardians
for both of
3.
us.
Me too. Fuck everything else.
Let's move on to something that we're actually excited about. There's a lot of VFX
Yes.
in these superhero films, big blockbusters, but something that stands out to us as well, having a bit of background in shooting some of our own short films, is cinematography. And great cinematography can definitely elevate a decent film to a great one. And I mean, I already know a movie that's not great that's going to show up in your nominees list that because it had great cinematography, you're going to mention it. So, Lachlan, what are your nominees for best cinematography and VFX?
Oppenheimer, The Zone of Interest, The Creator, Maestro, Saltburn,
That's
John
the one.
Wick, Chapter 4.
Only going to add Anatomy of a Fall and Poor List to those list of nominees. The rest, I also have Spider-Verse in there. As like,
Animated.
yeah, VFX, animated. There's
Animated.
also, I mean, it still has cinematography in it. But, but yeah, among those nominees, Lachlan, what makes it out to be the winner?
For me, it's The Creator.
Oh, yeah.
That film was stunning. That film had incredibly good CGI, and it was made on a pretty low budget. So factoring in that, I'm blown away by how the movie was made for such a low budget and looked that good and looked better than a $1 billion movie like The Flash. And that
Yeah.
movie looked terrible, and it shat all over other Marvel movies. And it's a great showing of what you should do, and you should not overwork or underpay your VFX artists. Shocker, right?
Maybe plan
that's
ahead your
Maybe
shots
plan
that
ahead.
you want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or,
Maybe you can
or
save like 100 million on your project.
Don't use AI. There's a good one for you. Don't use AI. Don't digitally create Nicolas Cage in a Superman suit when you could just get Nicolas Cage in a Superman suit. I'm sure that would be a little bit more expensive, but it would look
the
way
non-consent
fucking better.
part on actors that are dead is also kind of icky. I mean,
Icky.
now with the deals over for or done for now for the strikes, I think that there are some rules to that a bit more than there have been before that, but it still is a thing that's in contention. For me, it's John Wick Chapter 4. That
John
over
Wick Chapter
like
4. That's a great
yeah, it's
choice.
so good. It's so good.
Great
and I
choice.
think these two complement each other
Stunning.
well. I think those would be like 1 and 2. Lachlan, is John Wick 4 you runner up to the creator or?
Definitely. John Wick Chapter 4 is stunning. But
Yeah.
John Wick had a pretty decent budget behind it. And I think that it was stunning in its own
I don't
way.
think it's that much more than the creator though, but I guess it's a different type of movie.
Don't ruin my
Anyways.
fucking speech, Ewan.
Well, anyway, speaking of the best frames of the year, what were the worst ones? Something that just
I've only got
really
one.
bad.
I've only got one.
Okay, so you just got the
And
winner.
I made this category because I wanted to just
Just-
shout out how bad it was.
Yeah.
Oh, ready for me to go? Yep. Ready?
Yeah, no, you can go. Yeah.
All right. So, if you make your way through, hang on, let me get it up. If you go to Disney Plus right now, there is a movie on Disney Plus. Ewan, are you following along?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Can you load up Disney Plus, please?
I'll
I'm
load
gonna give
up Disney-
everybody
my-
a second to load up Disney Plus.
Yeah. I can also just put it into the video.
Yeah. But I want
But
you to
they-
play along.
I don't-
I want you to
not-
play along,
I
Ewan.
don't-
Play along at home.
Because I don't think Disney Plus is worth getting. So I wouldn't encourage people to get it if
Jeez.
they don't have it. Just for this. It's really shit. I'm going to cancel my Disney Plus subscription this year, actually.
Now, I want you to go to a movie called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Right. Yes. Oh. I'm already there.
Perfect. And I want you to go to 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 24 seconds.
I'm there.
This is the moment in the movie. He says it beforehand, but this angle's worse. The top-down shot makes him look really pathetic. One of my favorite action heroes, and he says, "Continental drift," and it derails the story so hard. I can believe the other bullshit that happens in this movie, but for Indiana Jones to then go, Archimedes was not considering continental drift because it wasn't discovered, and then they, sorry for spoilers, everybody, time travel
Time
makes
travel,
it the
baby.
worst frame
Continental
in-
drift.
this film and makes it the worst frame of the year because it sets up a terrible framework for the rest of the movie because they time travel back to like a Roman invasion, and that was just sorry, that's the worst frame of the year. That was just terrible.
That's worst frame for you. I counter you. There's a couple of ones that I saw that were even worse. For most of them, you skipped out on the film. Good on you, Lachlan. With the copyright law now in the new year, we got Steamboat Willie, right? And there's already like 7 projects announced using that version of Disney. Same happened with Winnie the Pooh when we got Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. I have a frame in here where it's just Pooh and he's bloody and there's honey.
That lighting is
so
incredible.
They deliver. It's yes, we definitely couldn't have done that. I mean, you sometimes put on your Spider-Man mask just in our own recreational time. And that looks better than this film. It's an utter shit show. Yes, thank you, Lachlan, very much for the demonstration. It also really, really works nicely with your outfit that you got going on.
Thank you.
There's a frame of MODOK in Ant-Man and the Wasp, whatever, 3. MODOK, the stretched face.
Looks
It
terrible.
looks just horrific. Ghosted, the movie on Apple TV Plus with Ana de Armas and Chris Evans, where they do a bit about, hey, remember when Chris Evans was Captain America and then Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie pop up and kill each other just as like quick cameos or whatever? So incredibly dumb and really showcases what's wrong with the industry right now with cameos and just them
Cameo
not
porn.
getting what. Yeah. And that's just what leads me to the actual worst frame of the year, which is all of the Flash cameos that were done without the consent, and without even a story reason for them being there. It was just like a PNG still thing, AI on top of their head, and it's like, that was someone who played Superman like 50 years ago. That cool, very cool. Those are the worst frames of the year. Yeah, it's kind of perfect that you're wearing the Spider-Man mask, because we'll talk about animation next. We got this year, in 2023, we got a new film from Pixar, Disney Studio Ghibli, Aardman, and a new Spider-Verse movie. So animation was stacked this year. So here's our nominees for the best animated films of the year. Yeah, Lachlan, do you have any other nominees?
Yeah, I've got a couple. I just didn't write them because there wasn't that many crazy animated movies this year.
I have them down here. Yeah, I think so.
Shockingly, one of them was Spider-Man, and that was a cool film. Big animated movie. Super Mario Bros. Even bigger, huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the most successful movies of the year in terms of financial money, in terms of real box office dollars. That's what we're talking about here, because that's why we make movies, to make money.
Yeah, baby.
The Boy and the Heron, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Total Mayhem. That's a pretty cool movie. And the other one I just want to shout out, two of them just really quickly, because I only watched them for like 10 minutes. I didn't actually get to finish either of them.
Yeah.
But Scott Pilgrim, cool animation. I love Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, right, the series, yeah.
I'm just shouting it out because fucking cool. And Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. I love Chicken Run, the original. I'm excited for stop motion, like real stop motion. I'm taking this fucking Spider-Man mask off. It's getting hot in this thing. Anyway, my winner for best animated movie is The Boy and the Heron. Wow, incredible stuff.
Wow, who would have thought?
Wow, who would have thought that? Incredible stuff.
I got a couple more shout-outs. Robot Dreams, about to roll out in theaters soon. Really quaint little story that uses the song September over and over and over again. But it's so charming. It's a non-dialogue thing, a bit of a story between a robot and a dog that spark up a friendship. It's really sweet. Shouldn't work as well as it does. And Nimona, another underrated gem that I don't think a lot of people are talking about. But I also had a decent time with Super Mario Brothers. It was my favorite. It was my favorite Illumination film, which doesn't say much because I hate them. I hate them so much. But this was the one that was bearable the most. I find it kind of funny that they campaigned as hard to get Peaches for best song nomination, and it wasn't even shortlisted. It's kind of funny to me. But the best animated film to me, we got The Boy and the Heron with Lachlan, and I'll go with Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse is my favorite animated of the year. Yes,
wow.
The mask here.
Incredible.
Anyways, let's do another quick one. The music soundtrack score is important in a lot of films. So, what are your favorite soundtracks and scores of the year, Lachlan?
Wow, I'm so glad you asked, because I have so many soundtrack scores that are wicked. Guardians of the Galaxy, Barbie, Asteroid City, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Maestro, Oppenheimer, The Creator, Saltburn, and most recently I've added the Priscilla soundtrack /score /sound thing to my rotation of albums that I have.
Can't Stop Falling in Love with You.
I think there was a lot of really good soundtracks this year. Few really good scores, but most movies had a really fun soundtrack. I think Barbie really exploded that sort of mixture of, because like the score of Barbie was basically just a soundtrack, and they got a lot of big artists, and there were a lot of films that used a lot of poppy music. Guardians has always done that, but so did Saltburn, and Saltburn's soundtrack is one of the few things that I really enjoyed about it, and I'm quite positive of, and I continuously listen to it like on repeat. The Murder on the Dance Floor song is like literally in rotation every day. It's like the song I wake up to, and I'm just like, that just gives me energy to dance and do stuff. But the winner for my favorite score /soundtrack, it's actually a really difficult one. For me to
He's clearly not making up his mind right now.
Should I just do I might just do Barbie. But like, yeah.
No, you can't steal mine.
I'm gonna have to do
my
Barbie.
God.
It's great.
Stealing
because it's a mixture of original. It's a mixture of like remake. It's good. I'm gonna do Barbie. It's Barbie.
I also have a couple of other nominees that I think you didn't mention. Flora and Son has a couple of great songs, more songs than score and soundtrack, but they're also part of the movie, so I don't know where that falls into. Boy and the Heron was great. Past Lives, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse also has another like accompanying album that's great by Metro Boomin, but it's not as great as I think the first one was. But Barbie, back to front, there's so many hits that are such fun bops to listen to that have nothing to do with the film. Yeah, it's so good. And I think like 2 of the songs from that album were like my most played of the year, or at least one of them. So yeah, no other movie can claim that. On my Spotify Wrapped for you and Graf. That's what they promote the movie with. But yeah, lots of great music to see. As someone who doesn't really pay attention to music as much, it helps me to go into the soundtrack after the fact. Kind of see like, oh yeah, I like this, if I remember it correctly. Finally, we have come to the last category, and instead of best picture or the best performances, we want to highlight the person in the chair, or in Maestro's case, or in some filmmakers' case, I think with Christopher Nolan as well. You don't sit on set. I guess you're standing. But let's talk about the people that make this whole business run, which of course is the producers and the studios. You know, it's not like they halted production for 6 years because of their own greed. No, it's actually the directors who craft this whole thing that we get to see on screen. They're often part or writer-director as early as the ideas spark for the film. Then they're there the whole way through, guiding the actors and the camera to get what they want. And then they're in the editing room, crafting the movie that they envisioned. So, Lachlan, what are your nominees for the best directors of 2023?
My nominees are Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer; Hayao Miyazaki, The Boy and the Heron; Bradley Cooper, Maestro; Justine Trent, Anatomy of a Fall.
What a treat. You can just say treat. I think it's still wrong, but I don't know. I think I got called out for saying it wrong myself, so.
Well, sorry. Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon; Celine Song, Past Lives; Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things; and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest.
Ooh, what a list of nominees. Is it fair to say that this is the most stacked category?
Stacked. Hardcore.
Yeah.
Do you want to read out your nominees?
Yes, I'll read out mine as well. Thank you. I got Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Ridley Scott for Napoleon, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Todd Haynes for May December, Hayao Miyazaki for The Boy and the Heron, Ava DuVernay for Origin, Celine Song for Past Lives, Jonathan Glazer, The Zone of Interest, Yorgos Lanthimos, Poor Things, and Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. Lachlan, I don't think do we agree? Do we agree on this? I don't know if we have a shared winner here.
I don't think we do.
Are you going first with your winner?
I couldn't decide, but there was one key characteristics between 2 directors that I couldn't get over. And that's the fact that it had been almost 10 years since they made a movie. So that's why my nominees that have become my winners is Jonathan Miyazaki. So Jonathan Glazer and Hayao Miyazaki are my 2 winners for Best Directors. Honestly, everyone on that list did an incredible job, but to push through 10 fucking years and then make a movie, or make a movie over 10 years like Miyazaki did, is insane. So to and to be able to continuously keep that shared vision amongst a crew is insane talent. And Jonathan Glazer did an incredible job, even though he didn't really, do much like under the skin, but like that doesn't matter because he came out with a spectacular film,
and
which is why it is Jonathan Miyazaki.
There we go. For me, I'm gonna go with maybe the choice that we might end up seeing at the Oscars this year. I'm gonna go with Christopher Nolan for his achievement in directing in Oppenheimer. I think it is such a technically impressive film, and I know that he's in charge of a lot of that, the control that he wants to have over that with his actors and getting everything out of the film that he wants. I think he's such a particular filmmaker that maybe doesn't take 10 years to make his stories, but they still feel like they're 10 years in the making. There's so much thought put into every little cut, every little moment. So yeah, that's why that's my favorite director of the year. But I guess that's it for the first inaugural Quiet on Set Awards. On a final note here, big thanks to everyone who's been tuning into the show this year. We have a bunch of exciting stuff that's baking in the oven for 2024. So the first video I'd guide you to is most anticipated of 2024. Lots of exciting films that are gonna come out this year and we're gonna talk about. We also have separate top 10 lists. Our producer Kevin even got one, so you can go check that out. You can follow us on Letterboxd, and Lachlan also made a bunch of lists about the box office of the year, the biggest box office hits. He also made a combined list of the ratings that we usually highlight when we start our reviews for Letterboxd, IMDb, and Metacritic. Those will be linked below. Continue to see movies. Let us know what your favorites were of 2023. And as always, we'll see you next week with the Quiet on Set podcast. So that's
Bye,
been
everybody.
the Quiet on Set show. Dear Watch
It's been the Quiet on
Show.
Set.
Goodbye.